Hey guys, welcome to another Cake Edit video. I'm your host Cake, and today I got something a little bit different for you. Today I'm going to show you how I solder in new Game Boy Advance and Game Boy batteries. I just want to point out a couple things before I get into the tutorial. I don't have any training in soldering. I just kind of, me and my business partner just kind of learned how to do this stuff on our own. So the warning would be, if you're not comfortable doing this, get someone that knows how to solder to do it. And since I probably don't know what I'm talking about some of the time, so that's just a fair warning. And also, if you're going to be doing soldering, I recommend making sure you're in a well-ventilated area. Maybe have safety goggles, some soldering gloves. I'm not going to have any of that because that's the way I roll. Okay, so some tools you're going to need to get started if you want to replace GBA batteries and Game Boy batteries are you're going to need a tri-head screwdriver. It's like Phillips but with 3, and you'll have to buy one. I'll put links to where you can get all this stuff on Amazon. They're pretty cheap little tools. For the Game Boy games, you'll need this little star head screwdriver, and possibly you want some tweezers. And I use something to hold down the battery at some point, so I don't have to have my hand on it when I'm soldering it in. And let's see, I just use this little jeweler screwdriver, so I'll put links to stuff in the description. And then you'll need batteries. So this is what I use for Game Boy Advance, and here's the ones I'm currently using for Game Boy. These batteries should have probably a 10-year life cycle on them. I don't use the ones that everyone around the internet recommends, but I'll put links to the ones that everybody uses, and then if I can find the ones that I use sold in singles, I can link to those as well, because I buy them in these sheets because I replace a lot of batteries, at least for now. So I'm gonna go ahead and get to the soldering area, and you can see my cheap soldering iron, and then I'll show you guys how I replace batteries in these things. Okay, and here it is, my cheap, outdated, old soldering iron that probably needs to be thrown away. Before I get started, at least like 15 to 20 minutes beforehand, you got to turn it on so it's good and hot. Your soldering iron probably have some settings. I leave it on about 3. And then you'll obviously here's the soldering tip, and today I'm going to be putting a new battery into a Pokemon Soul Silver and a Pokemon Emerald. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the back here. So with the tri-tip Phillips, I guess, I don't know what you call it. You just get in here and take this screw out. Get this out of here. Okay, make sure not to lose this screw, so put it somewhere safe. Okay, and then to open it up, you just come here, you pull down on the front. It's front, slides down, and then you can just pull it out, pull the top off like that. So, and there's a old battery in there that is dead, so we want to replace that. So when I'm soldering these, I take it out of the backing here. I think it'd be hard to do inside of that. Okay, and the other one that I'm going to be doing is this Pokemon Silver. And then to open it, we need this little star-headed guy. And then you just place it on here. Please don't fall. Okay. We just take this out. And like I said, don't let these fall and drop somewhere and lose them. And this opens up the same way. You just pull down the front and take the cap off. And there you go. There's the inside with a dead battery. Pop the circuit board out. Alright, now let me change the positioning of this camera a little bit. And then I'll show you how I take out the battery and put in a new one. Alright, and now that the soldering iron tip is hot, first thing I do is I go ahead and just take out the old battery. So there's these two parts here. There's this part of the this part of the part, yeah. Look, see, I really know what I'm talking about. Okay, there's two sides, and they have this little metal goop on them. So you just got to get that hot. And like I said, I really recommend wearing a mask, gloves, and glasses in case some of this splatters on you. You don't want to get this in your eyes or inhale the fumes and stuff. But so just be careful. So what I do is I just grab onto the battery and kind of like slightly pull it up, and then I start getting this end hot and get it. Eventually that globule thing will melt. Come on. Maybe it's not hot enough. Yeah, I don't think my, okay, it is hot enough. And then it'll just come up. And then the other side, do about the same thing. Just kind of pull up a little bit on the battery, lightly, maybe just kind of hold it until you feel it get loose, and then just real lightly pull it off of there. Okay, and then you got this old ass battery. You can just pitch that, I guess. All right, and then you'll be left with these two little metal spots here. What I try to do is I try to get here and make like a little, if there's any solder left on there, make like these little like mounds. This side there's almost no solder left, so you need to have some solder on there. So one thing you'll also need, probably if you buy your soldering iron, it'll come with this, is some solder. And you can put more on the tip of your soldering iron. Like I said, if you want to learn how to solder, this probably isn't the guide for it. So just put some solder on there. And remember, don't be fumed up. Okay. And then I have this little pad, kind of wipe it down a little bit. Okay, so now I got some solder on the tip there. And I'm going to add a little more solder to this pad and to this pad. It'll just melt off, and then you can make a little spot on there. Okay. Alright, next, take your GBA battery, and you'll need to make sure there's a plus side and a minus side. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell from your battery, but on this board itself, there's a little plus sign. Okay, you can't see that. Okay, on the actual board, right next to each little globule, there's a plus or a minus sign. So this has the plus side, this has the minus sign. That's important because if you put your battery in the wrong way, that's not going to work. So what I do is I start off and I just set the battery into place with my hands. So the first side that I solder back on, I hold it with my finger. It doesn't get hot enough to where, you know, it's going to burn me, but if you want to hold this down with a tool instead of your fingers, that might be safer. And then I just come over here, get that end hot. Get it hot, come on. Oh, I'm messing this up. Okay, you got to make sure both ends are lined up when you do this. Okay, get it hot and then push it down. Spread the solder around a little bit. And okay. And hold it down and then let it dry real quick. And then for the other side, what I do is I take a little, I use this little jeweling screwdriver here, and then I push it down because I don't want to be that close, and you got to make sure it's down tight. So I put something here to hold it down, and then let me see if I can make sure to center this video for you. So I hold it down with this, and then okay, this is hard to do with this camera in my way. Hold it down, and then get this solder on here. Come on. Okay. Just get it soldered up. Make sure the stuff underneath melts so it stays connected to the board. Okay, and then hold it down tight with your other little tool and let it dry. And then once it's dry, you can pull it up, and then it's not going to move. Alright, so now this is probably really poor soldering, but I've been doing these for a while now, and I've never had any complaints that the battery quits working. So apparently I'm doing a good enough job, and they stay in there pretty well. So real quick, I'm going to turn the camera off again, and I'm going to show you what I do after I put it in real quick before you seal everything back up to make sure the battery works. Alright, so before you put the screw back in, I just put the circuit board back in the bottom half, and then you can actually plug that in to a Game Boy Advance. And so I actually put it in just like it normally would be. You might have to blow on it just like you normally do, and then I try to boot it up, okay? It'll still work without the front half on it, because you don't want to seal it up and then see that what you did didn't work. Well, game didn't boot. That's normal though, it's not because of the battery. These games are old. Blow on it a little bit. I know they say not to blow on them, but it's always worked back to the NES days. Alright. Get this game started here. And before it said the internal battery was dry, now let's see. Nope. Now it has a working battery, guaranteed to last for years and years. Oh joy. Okay, so that's good to go. So then you can just put the front back on, and then re-screw in your little shy guy. Okay, now let me show you how to do it on a Game Boy game real quick. Okay, and just like on the Game Boy Advance battery, first we got to take the old battery off. So you got to melt the little metal on the sides there and slowly pry up that end, and then melt it a little bit on this side and pry it up. Come on. And then just take the battery off there, and that's a junker, okay? And then remember, you gotta, wait, what's going on here? You gotta make sure that these are little mounds of solder on here. Try to get them just rounded, not with like any sharp points coming up. And then you can put the new one in. And what I found, sometimes you might get a battery that has like tabs that are too long. Like, I think these tabs are too long for this battery. I've determined with this particular one that if I cut off the tabs at about halfway in the middle of these circles, then they're not like hanging off enough, and it's easier to put in. So I just cut them. So as long as you have enough left on the end there, it doesn't matter if you cut these. I just cut a little bit off. So some batteries, the tab part might be the right length, but for me, I cut a little off. That's how I roll. That's how I roll. And then I just set him on here. Remember, I'm not a professional. Okay, and then hold him into place, nice and snug, like a bug. And then I'm gonna drop one side down. Let's get it down. Come on, you can do it. Just get some of that solder to melt. It's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Come on. Come on. You gotta get it, the stuff underneath to melt so you can feel it kind of push down a little bit. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. Did it go down? Okay, maybe I got it on there. Okay, so that side's on. Appears. Yep, it's on. Okay. And then the next side we'll do, I use the little thing, like I said, to hold this end down. Okay, got him down. Let it dry. Bam. Okay. And same thing on testing these. After you got the battery in, just put it back in the back there. And you don't need to put the front on to test it. So pop it into your Game Boy or GBA. I always test them on the original devices. Okay, that got a little black thing, so gotta blow on it. I'm sure if you play Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, you know about blowing on the cartridge. Okay, well, I can't get it to turn on. One of these sides looks a little funky. I'm gonna push that down a little bit with some extra solder. Just a second. Okay, so I couldn't get that game to load for some reason, so I just wanted to check to make sure that battery wasn't bad and that cart wasn't bad. I went and got a different Soul Silver cart that I tested to make sure it worked first, and then I put in one of the older batteries that I was using before, which I believe is a CR 2016 or 2025. I don't know. I don't remember exactly the unit, but so I tested this and then it didn't work either. So I was like, what's going on? And I don't know what the deal is. These games are kind of old, so they're a little finicky, but once I put the case back on and then booted it in an SP, it worked. So I think the battery was in fine. Here's the one I redid, the original one I brought out here, that I thought maybe the cart was broken. So as you can see, it works, boots up. It doesn't give the error, you know, with the battery not being available. And then here's the one. This has a CR 2023 in it, which they're a little bit bigger, but these last longer. So that's why I wanted to put these in. And then I put this one in too. And this one should be working as well. Yep, works good. So, I mean, I could start this here. I'll speed it up. I'll start a game and save just to show you that it holds a save. Okay. I can save. Okay, we saved the game. So let's power it down, turn her back on, and let's make sure that saves there. I know you are. There it is! Yay! But, alright. And that's all I got for you out here at the soldering desk table environment. And don't forget to put the screws back in when you're done and have them nice and snug. And that's my little guide for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Like I said, I'm not a professional at this, so you've been warned. Make sure you probably know what you're doing a little bit and have some safety equipment if you're going to try to install your own new batteries. And if you want to get any of the equipment that I used, I'll link to some cheaper and nicer versions on Amazon if you just want to click those. If you do end up buying something through those links, it helps me out too. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. What else am I supposed to do? Comment if you have questions. I can't really help too much on this stuff, but I can try. And if you're not subscribed, give me the subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Alright, I'll see you next time. Sayonara.